Hello everyone, this is Phoebus. I am making a video of a Phantom 6-pack seal that I did a Magic online recently. Actually, there's going to be two right in a row. I did not get the video of deck making or the first round, so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go through my my deck editor and take a look at the pool that I got and what I did with it and how I made the decisions, what to play, and then I'm going to try to make a point of why I did a lot of the things I did. And I just found this a very interesting pool of cards, and that's why I wanted to come back and go over it. Now this will be kind of difficult because I'm in my deck editor, and you know, if I end up clicking on a board or clicking on a card, then it's going to end up not going to the sideboard, so I may have to reload it from time to time. But here was the pool. First thing I would have done is sorted it by rarity, and seeing that I had this mythic here, and I've gotten this mythic 3 or 4 times almost in a row. Maybe one time out of the last 4 I've not gotten Dusk Mantle Seer, and it's kind of a risky card where it will it'll start kind of randomly hitting you versus the opponent, and you kind of need to be up when you need to be up in the game, otherwise it's kind of a risky play. You also need to keep your curve relatively low, but that's kind of what this format does anyway. And then I take a look at the other rares, and I have a Simic Manipulator, some card that can make a poor deck really sing if you can get that control magic going over and over and over again. Was one of the first cards that I ever picked in a draft, and found it kind of underwhelming. But then when I had to go up against it, just the potential of knowing that at any time your creatures could no longer belong to you means that this has got quite a psychological effect that you wouldn't otherwise think that it has. Like if you find in your deck you can't pump it or pump it enough, or you don't know when to use it, just think about it from the other side where it's kind of grueling. Here's another card I found kind of underwhelming on my side. I do like Simic decks, and so these are 2 cards that I would eagerly draft. This one I wouldn't first pick, but it is maybe I need to reconsider that. If you have a curve that goes a little higher than usual, then this is a pretty good card. Of course, people try to pick on it once it starts getting rolling anyway. Frontline Medic is an amazing card for 2 and a white, 3/3, and can just basically turn the tide of any game. And here's one of the rares that I think defines this sealed format. You know, usually it's the mythic rares that you call the bombs, but I feel like this here is a bomb, much like Frontline Medic, but despite the fact that it has a cost of 3 higher, you know, white and a 3, so double the cost effectively, it actually has a larger role to play, meaning that, you know, just with a little bit of support, it can do the work all by itself. So if you can control the ground a little bit, or have just a few more creatures on the ground, just giving it first strike on the opponent's turn, or vigilance on your turn, or if you're behind, lifelink on your turn, either one kind of just dictates the entire game all by itself. It says, you know, pretty much you got to answer me right now, or else you're going to lose. This one is still pretty good, very much on caliber with this one. The Angelic Skirmisher, but maybe just to a lesser extent. So I got 2 really good white cards, and I got 2 pretty good Simic cards, and then I have what I would call as my biggest bomb, slightly bigger than Angelic Skirmisher, possibly. Maybe Angelic Skirmisher is actually better, but if you're ahead, Dusk Mantle Seer kind of puts the nail in the coffin a little bit faster. Now here's one that I have passed up many times, even playing Simic. It seems like it's very difficult to get going. You know, Simic needs things to kind of punch through the last bit of damage, not so much you know, spend an extra 10 turns to populate the board with 1/1s, but it does work nicely with some other cards. So checked all those out, and one of the first things I did is I said, yes, I want to play this, and I want to play this, and these 2 maybe not. I want to play this, I want to play this. So I said, okay, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be Dimir, but at least play these 2 white cards. So I looked for things where I could play white. So I'll go back to color at this point. And I might have looked through my land next fixing, but I'm not sure. And I have a black and white Guild Gate, which goes perfectly here, and the other two don't. Red was not one of the colors in the mix for any of my rares. It was the only color not in the mix. And then blue and green, no. So the fixing looks kind of bad here. We go over to the artifacts, and we find 2 riot gear, a Simic rune. So if I really wanted to splash Simic, I've got a couple of chances to get green. And then the next thing I think I did actually is I went to the red, because right now red is the one color that I was figuring I would be ruling out. And Furious Resistance, no, not likely. The Goblin, probably. Madcap Skills, pretty good. Another Goblin, that's pretty good. No, yes, yes. Definitely lovely creature. 2 of them. And I find that my red pool is pretty good. This one's kind of like, depends on the deck. If you need a finisher, it's kind of like the artifact. It's a spotlight, where it just lets you get through your last bit of damage. And here's another one of those kind of maybes, but you know, I'm looking at white. So red looks very deep, and it was the one color that I pretty much had ruled out. So now I have to figure red's still in this. If I look at my white pool, my black pool, my blue pool, and go, wow, it's really weak, and I have to go red and then figure out which of these amazing rares I'd like to put in. Then go over to the green, and Aspire Tracer is a card that, you know, I've heard people not liking, and I like it fine. I don't find that it's going to get stopped all that often. And with green, with particularly a Ivy Lane Denizen, which is a card that I have just grown to love. It's probably my pet card of this set. I will try to get multiples of those and pick them as early as 2nd or 3rd pick, maybe even 1st, whereas others are going much lower. So I am picking Ivy Lane Denizen much higher. I'm actually, you know, if I was going to label myself, I am a Simic drafter. And one of the points I was trying to make in this video is that Simic is a lot better in sealed than it is, I think, in draft. And the second point was that Boros isn't quite as good. And I'm going to spend this video and the next one trying to prove or disprove that. Miming Slime is good. It seems kind of underwhelming that it only just copies your best creature, and I don't know what you expect to get out of it. You know, it might take a while to grow this guy up to a 2/4, and then this guy's just a 2/2 if you bring him in at that point. But if you can get down an adaptive Snapjaw, and this guy's a 6/6. But one of the best parts about the Miming Slime is it costs 3. And it costs 3, and if you have other evolved creatures out there, it's most likely going to evolve them anyway, because the evolved creatures aren't 2/2s. They're something and then something +1 or -1, or +2. So a Miming Slime is almost always going to evolve. So I have, out of the green, I basically have Predator's Rapport that I'm not going to play, but then I notice I've got 2 Verdant Havens, which means, you know, yeah, that's one of the green fixing cards, which also is an accelerator. So green is now an option. So green's better than I thought, red is better than I thought, and I do have 2 good green rares that I was thinking it would be nice to play, but wasn't one of the top picks that I had. So one of the things I always do at this point is I start dividing up the cards over here that are guild specific, or they're gold cards, and take a look at the Dimir. And I'm not a Psychic Strike fan. A Mortis Strider I like more than most, but I'd still put it in a category of I'm not playing this deck for that color, but I keep it in mind. And then Call to the Nightwing is, you know, slightly better in my opinion than this. A lot of people like this card more than I do. So I would say these 2 cards are something I would play Dimir for. And then, of course, we got that bomb rare. So I have more Dimir cards than I'm usually used to getting in this sealed. And then I take a look at this, and this is one of my favorites for this format. I think it is one of the cornerstones of this format for winning. The unblockable creatures, and I think it's the best one of the unblockable creatures. We have Keymaster Rune, which I don't know whether to say he's the 2nd best there or the 3rd best. And I never ever seem to get the other one, the one that is 1 Dimir, and it's a 2/2 and is unblockable except for against a rogue. So it's not truly unblockable, but oftentimes is unblockable. I just never seem to get him, and yet I kind of think that those unblockable creatures are what you need to do to get past, to get wins in sealed. But this one is, in my opinion, the best, and I'll go out of my way to play it. So now my green pool has just, gained a plus. It's a lot better than I thought. And there's another one that's red-green that I'd love to play, and here's one that I wouldn't. And Orzhov Charm is really good, and then let's go over here. I like to separate them by 1 so I can put the just mono-colored ones in between. Kingpin's Pet, amazing. 1000 Lashes, very good. I do not play Purge the Profane. Martial Glory, yes, but I'm not really seeing any other red-white. I mean, Martial Glory, yes, but it's not something I would go and play red-white for. And then Fortress Cyclops is kind of the same thing. In this format, he's perfectly fine. Shattering Blow. Arrows of Justice, it's like, well, if I'm playing white, I might be playing that anyway. I'm playing red-white, yes, so I'll put the Simic Manipulator up here. Let's see. And kind of looks like that. And remember, the red pool is very good. So then I go over to the white pool, and Debtor's Pulpit, and not really. Angelic Edict, yes. Basilica Guards, yes. Court Street Denizen, yes. I can't believe I don't have any in my accounts. That's why it's got the red title there, because it's a good card. It's just I do not end up in Boros very often, and I'm playing Sealed, this Phantom Sealed, more than I'm playing Draft, I would say. Syndic of Ties. Shielded Passage is one that's playable more so than the Guild Scorn Ward, but I still don't put it down here as a reason to play it. So my Boros is actually pretty good with Madcap Skills, Skin Brand Garblin ×2, Ember Beast, Warmind Infantry. So I'm looking at a very good Boros deck, but it's just missing the top end. My top end is those rares that I had, Elusive Krasis, Scarred Guildmage. So I'm losing out on some of my amazing things. So this was one of the things that was really cool about this pool, is it just had so much in it that I could do. I probably could have played any color combination. So go over to blue, and yes, definitely no. And this is one that I always say is a no until I find a reason to play it. And this one's kind of in between for me. I'll put it down here as, if I've got enough evasion and I think I can get through a lot of hits, even with, say, a bunch of sprites, then I'm going to be playing that. And here's another one that oddly enough makes my deck far less than I would think, even when I am Simic. Reason being that I will take an Adaptive Snapjaw over the Leyline Phantom if I have 2 or more Ivy Lane Denizens, because then I could just start bumping this guy up many times. By the time this guy comes out, it might be a good bet. If I'm facing something that has First Strike in it, then I don't want the Adaptive Snapjaw. Instead, I want the Leyline Phantom. But the blue pool is okay. It's a lot more shallow than I thought. And remember, I wanted to be blue, black, white. So white's pretty deep, but it's kind of good. Good cards that might go in Boros. But I also have some Orzhov possibilities too. Syndic of Ties and Basilica Guards. Court Street Denizen one's lots away. So taking a look in the black, I see no, and maybe, probably. I put it in the yes column to begin with. Gateway Shade, if I've got Orzhov Gate and maybe some of these gates. So this one usually goes in the no column for me. Yes. One Grizzly Spectacle. This one usually goes in the no column for me, but I'll play it. And yes, so my black pool is not that great with my blue pool, so I could go black and blue and white.